seen someone ask this question and it got me to thinking, you're right. Why haven't the Latin community called on the Asians that's in California to go out and march and help? Why is the call of action only to black people? I just really want to know. Because they call themselves the model minority. So they supposed to be smarter, more educated. This is all per them. Why haven't y'all called on the Asians? Why do they get to sit back and chill? We already know they out to pew pew us. Let me know. Get down in the comments because I want to know. That's an interesting question. I seen someone ask this question and it got me to thinking, you're right. Why haven't the Latin community called on the Asians that's in California to go out and march and help? Why is the call of action only to black people?
I'll say this, right? I'm a nobody. But it's like I've been seeing so many people asking Asian creators to speak up about the whole riots in LA and all these deportation things. This is something that a lot of people don't understand. Asian people, we support the country. We support the betterment of the country. We support that. So what is there to say? What is there to say? We support the deportations of illegals. It is honestly tiring because here's the thing. We want the country to be better. We want the country to be better. We want the country to, if you did it legally, if you stand in line, if you paid the price, right? You paid the money and all that, you did all the process, the paperwork, all the stuff, which usually most Asian people do. Why would we care about someone jumping in line, crossing the border and all this stuff? Why should we, be happy about that? We're not really, this is the thing where we're not really dependent. Asian people aren't really dependent on, migrant labor, right? Not like other people. We're not really dependent on migrant labor. So we're not going to cry that the U.S. is pretty much backing what they promised. The U.S. promised, or this presidency promised, that they would deport illegal immigrants. They're doing that. Why are you crying? Why are you crying about it? This is the thing where, you see it like these immigrants are waving the flags of other countries, burning down the flag of the U.S., and then you think Asian people want to support that? No, they want to stay away from that. They don't want to be grouped in with these people. That's the thing. Asian people want to, focus on themselves and their community and their country. They don't want to be grouped in with these people. So really, stop asking Asian influencers to speak up about it because you won't like what they say. You won't like what they say. So really, it's better off that they do the content that they're doing instead of, say things you don't like. Because here's the thing. Asian people don't want to focus on the negativity and, say what they're really thinking. Deport, right? Deport illegal immigrants. So many people asking Asian creators to speak up about the whole riots in LA and all these deportation things. What is there to say? We support the deportations of illegals.
Sir, you look like the immigration issue you're ranting about. So the projection is wild because you look very illegal.
Asian people aren't really dependent on, migrant labor.
The loss of immigrants has the potential for a full economic collapse because of significant GDP reduction, labor shortages, increased prices, reduced consumer spending and demand, and billions lost in tax revenue. An economic collapse affects everyone. Immigrants make this country thrive.
This presidency promised that they would deport illegal immigrants. They're doing that. Why are you crying? You see it like these immigrants are waving the flags of other countries, burning down the flag of the U.S., and then you think Asian people want to support that? No, they want to stay away from that. They don't want to be grouped in with these people. Asian people don't want to focus on the negativity and, say what they're really thinking. Deport, right? Deport illegal immigrants.
He is the embodiment of the model minority, which was created to pit Asians against other marginalized groups, rewarding obedience, silence, and hard work with crumbs of white approval. And he ate that up. Tap dancing for people who don't even want you here. No matter how hard you try to prove you hate yourself more than they ever could, and try so hard to distance yourself from the very people who fought for the rights that you now leech off of. You can grovel all you want for white validation, but you'll never earn validation from the same people who call you Kung Flu and China virus. Remember that? Kung Flu and China virus? You are not native. So how do you think it is that you were able to come to the United States? You think it was the whites who just kindly handed you an invite into our country out of the kindness of their heart? No, you got here because black and brown people, far braver than you, bled in the streets. The Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 made it possible for you to live your American dream as the oppressor's lapdog. You're welcome. The people brave enough to fight out in the streets are the same people keeping you here. That fight going on right now is again a fight that you will benefit from, just so that you can parade around like you earned those rights when you have never fought for anything in your weak little existence. Not your people, not your dignity, not even yourself. But be careful, because if they deport all of the people who fight for our rights, you might find yourself in an internment camp, because who's going to fight for you? You don't even fight for yourself.
Why are so many Asian Americans so silent right now? That's because they didn't vote. Yes, they didn't vote because they didn't like Kamala from their internal misogyny or internal racism, and felt indifferent enough about the orange man so that they thought that a no vote was going to the orange man. So the reason why they're not upset right now is because they voted for this. That's why. And that's not me excusing their behavior. I am a disabled person. I was advocating for Kamala before the election, so I had the chance to talk to a lot of my friends. They're not my friends anymore, but people in my life about how this election was going to affect me and people like me, and if they cared about me, why they should vote for Kamala. And they still didn't care. They couldn't care less, because at the end of the day, it was all about taxes. Yeah, their tax break. The problem is, Asians that have a level of wealth feel this closeness to white people because white people were the only ones that had that level of wealth for so long, that they feel like they're getting a chance to be part of the white club, but they're not. And if I could give an insight into maybe why Asians are like this, it's because a lot of our parents, and like even my generation as a millennial, we have seen our mother countries very impoverished. Like for me, I'm Korean, so I know South Korea's history. Like South Korea was fully bankrupt in the 80s and saw their first economic boom in the 2000s. It hasn't been that long, and they're in like the top 20 GDP in the world now. That level of wealth growth, normal citizens see that and think, oh my god, if I'm just smart enough and if I invest correctly, I can also get there. And if you look at South Korea, it's an oligarchy. That country is ran by like 3 families, and the main one is the Samsung family. And they have so many scandals. They have done some bad stuff, and the country just lets them get away with it. And if you look at the election turnout, it shows that South Koreans are starting to wake up to the state of like, oh, we're an oligarchy. But Korean Americans, look at the past of Korea, see that you can still succeed, feel like there's a privilege of being in America, utilize the model minority method, and then try to enter the 1%. They think that they could break into the 1%. Wake up. You're not. You're not white enough. You will never be white enough. They will never accept you. Why are so many Asian Americans so silent right now? That's because they didn't vote. Yes, they didn't vote because they didn't like Kamala from their internal misogyny or internal racism, and felt indifferent enough about the orange man so that they thought that a no...
A lot of people don't understand. Asian people,
listen to him.
we support the country. We support, the betterment of the country. We support that. So, what is there to say? What is there to say? We support the deportations of illegals. It is honestly tiring, because here's the thing. We want the country to be better. We want the country to be better. We want the country to, If you did it legally, if you stand in line, if you paid the price, right, you paid the money and all that, you did all the process, the paperwork, all the stuff, which usually most Asian people do. Why would we care about someone jumping in line, crossing the border and all this stuff? Why should we, be happy about that?
Then he also went on to say that they don't benefit from migrant labor, immigrant labor. He said, we don't need y'all. Which is kind of ironic because I'm just gonna keep it real. Majority of the times, like if I go to like any like Asian establishments and I see like bus boys or people that's working with them, it's usually Latino, like Mexicans, and so I don't know nothing about that. But at the end of the day, y'all keep coming for black folk when Asian people and other Latinos are blatantly saying that they want to send you back to wherever the hell you originated from. But black folk keep getting brought up into it. This Asian man just sat up here, bold face and all, and said, we don't give a goddamn about the ICE raids in LA. We don't care. Do it the legal way. And I mean, like, technically speaking, spread love is the Brooklyn way. I think that there could be a better way going about, deporting people that don't have their paperwork. I don't think that it should be brute force used, but what they said, I would vote for Donald Trump, the Latinos for Donald Trump. Y'all got smoke for black people though. The math just don't math. Anyway, spread love is the Brooklyn way. I don't know.
Black people don't understand. Asian people,
listen to him.
We support the country.
Filipinos, what are we doing? I'm seeing a lot of posts from Filipino American elders and people who are my age that are celebrating the ICE raids. They're saying stuff like, good, that's exactly what should be happening to illegal immigrants and undocumented immigrants. Our hearts should be with the Mexicans and Hispanics that are being deported. Our hearts should be with their families who are losing family members. Our hearts should be with the people rioting. We should be angry with them in empathy. But the thing about Filipinos, I love my people, but we are so prideful, especially when it comes to our successes. Being a citizen takes hard work. It's a long process and a very expensive one. I am an immigrant, and I'm very lucky to have parents that worked hard and were very smart and helped us sustain a lifestyle here until we became naturalized citizens. I came here when I was 4. I became a citizen when I was 18. Some people do not have the privileges that I had. But the thing about Filipinos is they will climb that ladder to success, and oftentimes they will have an elevator help them up there. And when they see someone struggling to get up that ladder, they will push that ladder away because they don't want to be associated with people who didn't work as hard as they did. That is not empathy. That is not godly. We are coming up with so many excuses that are fitting an American narrative that these people don't work as hard, they're criminals, they're lazy. That's a bad way of thinking. Just go back into the history books and see how Americans viewed Filipinos. We were in fucking zoos. We were treated pretty badly by this country and we were annexed by the US, so our hearts should be with the people who are being treated badly now. It upsets me because I live in an area that is full of Hispanic culture. We grew up around Mexicans here, and the Filipinos around me are celebrating their neighbors' deportation. How can you live in a place for so long and not show empathy for its people who are struggling? They're even against the rioters because, they're being too violent. They're disrupting the peace. We were colonized by Spain, and the only way you get to live your life here in America, comfortable tweeting your bullshit fucking opinion, is because Filipinos died to give you that fucking freedom. You're an immigrant! And you're privileged, and you should understand that with your privilege, you should use your voice and your privilege and your situation to help others who don't have what you had. I'm sorry, I'm getting so heated. To the Filipinos that are supporting these ICE raids and are demeaning the riots, I thought we were a godly people. People who are better versed in the Bible than me can share passages that talk about giving safe asylum to immigrants. I ask all my fellow Filipinos to rethink their position and really empathize with why these people are so angry to the point of rioting. What would you do for your family? What would you do for a community that you saw was being taken away from you? We are nothing without our people. And if their people are being taken away, this kind of issue transcends political party, guys. This issue is a human rights issue. We can go on and on about how no one is an immigrant on stolen land, but let's face the reality that we have right now. Be more empathetic towards your neighbors that are disappearing. They are working just as hard. There are stories that I've been told of people I know personally where their grandparents pass away and a month later, they get their green card. It is a long process. and you should be more empathetic. I thought we were a godly people. I thought we valued community, and those people rioting right now in LA, they are valuing their community because they are upset that it's being taken away from them. Do me a favor, find your empathy before you make any of these annoying posts celebrating these ICE raids, and look deep within yourself as to why you were so hateful in the first place.